We have reached a rare lull in the college football calendar as things ramp up for Super Bowl week, and we get to take stock of just what has happened in the postseason and in the transfer portal and what the aftermath has looked like. So I wanted to take this opportunity to take a look at Ohio State's depth chart and what we can glean from it, just how we feel about the moving and shaking on both sides of the ball. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year-round. If you're into that, hit that subscribe button, like this video, answer the question in the comments below. Who stands out to you on Ohio State's depth chart going into spring football? I feel pretty confident about this one, as there is no transfer portal coming this spring for the first time, and we know just what new offensive coordinator Arthur Smith and veteran defensive coordinator Matt Patricia have in the coffers. And how do you feel about Ryan Day leading them into 2026? I realize that Ryan Day is always going to be a lightning rod for Ohio State fans. Some think that he hasn't done enough. Some think that people are really overlooking how accomplished this dude really has become as head coach there. And there's that group that just says it's Ohio State. You're going to win just because the machine is built to do nothing else. So the games you lose are entirely your fault, and the games you win are about the machine. They're not about you. That's just the name of the job. So let's take a look at what Ohio State has on offense to start, and known quantity there. Julian Sand is the starting quarterback. Don't need to spend a whole lot of time on that, except to say, like I say every spring, wrap him in bubble wrap, and let's let the backup, Tavian St. Clair, take as many snaps as we possibly can. And that looks like the guy that's going to get the first call if something does happen to Julian Sand. But you never can say with quarterbacks, because sometimes guys you think are going to be great just don't pan out, a.k.a. Jackson Arnold at Oklahoma. Then there's Justin Martin behind him and Luke Fay. I think when we really look at this, again, Martin's attempted 35 passes, and that's your 1-for-1 for Lincoln Kienholz going to Louisville. And then Fay gets to sit back there and figure some things out. We'll see if he stays around for the next 2-3 years, but I doubt it. This is probably the last year for Julian Sand to play quarterback at Ohio State, which means that Tavian St. Clair is very much in that spot where we got to start taking a look at him and go, is that the guy for 2027, or do you need to go into the transfer portal? At running back, it's Bo Jackson. That's your starter. That's your bell cow back. He usurped known quantities in James Peoples and, my gosh, C.J. Donaldson. Became a breath of fresh air in that running back room. Didn't even carry the ball against Texas. Ends up as the leading rusher for the Buckeyes in 2025. However, the Buckeyes struggled to run the ball against Power 4 competition, and it showed, right? Late against Indiana, you can see Bo Jackson getting going there a little bit, but you really need another running back to help him. And we thought that guy was going to be Isaiah West. It still might be. You need to see some development from him, but you got Jacoby Jackson back there, Turbo Rogers back there, and then Legend Bay, I think, is going to be a guy that many of us just want to keep an eye on, just because his signing was wild. The wildest of 2026 signings by far, in that committed to Tennessee, signed Tennessee, didn't want to be at Tennessee, told anybody that would listen didn't want to be at Tennessee, finally gets released, ends up signing with Ohio State. Also shows you just how badly they wanted him at Ohio State. But is that going to be another guy that gets to show up and rush for over 1,000 yards in his first season, like Bo Jackson? Remains to be seen. We'll see. I think Jacoby Jackson might be more like the bigger, stronger guy to replace a guy like C.J. Donaldson, but we'll see what happens in those short yardage situations. Wide receiver, best position on the football field for Ohio State going in 2026, and it's not close. Jeremiah Smith is your 1. Brandon Ennis is your 2. Then it looks like Chris Henry, which could be really, really fun, because behind him you got guys like Kyle Parker, Phillip Bell, Devin McEwen. I mean, we keep going on with this one. There are lots of options for Cortez Hankton in year 1 at wide receiver, but that's really where a lot of focus is going to be. This has been a position that has increased substantially in value for the Buckeyes since 2018. And you can make the argument that short of Nick Saban's Alabama, nobody's had a better run of wide receivers than the Ohio State Buckeyes. Brian Hartline was a tremendous asset to the program for that, and that is who Cortez Hankton is going to be compared to. Can you come up with Biletnikoff Award winners? Can you come up with Heisman Trophy finalists? Jeremiah Smith has gone on record saying, I wanted to be the first guy to win the Biletnikoff Award back-to-back years. and they denied him that opportunity, mostly because from day one, people said that this dude was going to win it in his third year. I don't think that crap is fair. I think that if you're the best player in the sport and you receive more Heisman votes than any other wide receiver, you should win the Biletnikoff Award, guys, whether or not you're a freshman or a sophomore. They voted for Mekhi Lemon. I voted for Jeremiah Smith back-to-back years, even over Travis Hunter, who I knew was going to win the Heisman Trophy anyway. That said, it is what it is. Now, losing Quincy Porter and Mylan Graham both to Notre Dame could prove to be sumptuous, as those are two teams that could play each other in the college football playoff. We'll see what Parker and McEwen can add. McEwen coming from UTSA, Parker coming from LSU. But I think you're going to have 4 guys at that position that can rotate, probably 3 that are out in routes. Tight end, going to be a little bit of a moving and shaking here. Nate Roberts is your starter. But then you got guys like Mason Williams, Bennett Christensen, Hunter Welsing, who I think is more in that Max Clare role, a guy that can catch a lot of passes for you and be pretty damn good if he's given the opportunity. Roberts out of Oklahoma is a 4-star recruit and probably should have gotten huge offers from Oklahoma, but that ain't nothing new. You know, Josh Proctor was from around the way, and he ended up playing safety at Ohio State instead of Oklahoma. You know what I'm saying? Like, Dax Hill is from around the way. He ended up playing at Michigan. Josh, oh my gosh. I got Josh Jacobs' jersey, his signed Las Vegas Raiders jersey, in a frame right here because he's from around the way, and he at Tulsa Public School, and he can't get to Oklahoma. As you can see, I feel some kind of way about that. Offensive line, starter at center got to be, I mean, I'm assuming it's Carson Hinsman, but then you got inside Luke Montgomery, maybe Austin Severville. Phillip Daniels is back. Ian Moore is back. Backups include Josh Padilla. I think it's really difficult for me to tell you what Tyler Bowen is going to do at offensive line because he got to do something. What I think is really hard for me to overlook as a close watcher of Ohio State is Justin Fry put together a national championship offensive line with 4 guards in the second half of the season, 2024. Tyler Bowen couldn't get close to that, and they couldn't move the football. Year 1 for Tyler Bowen, but while everybody was serenading Matt Patricia, close lookers are going, close watchers are going, hey, look, that offensive line got to get it together because you got to be able to run the football. And that's just not something they were able to do against really good football teams. They could protect, but that was a lot of Julian Sain was one of the quickest at getting the ball out of his hands, including in the NFL. Like, if you compared his numbers in the NFL, he'd been a top 3rd. Not bad for a guy who was a first-year starter. Defensive line, you know what it is. It's Kenyatta Jackson, it's Zion Grady, it's Edric Houston, it's John Walker. Quay Rusaw, I think, is going to be in there. I think he's rotating in hard, and I think he could end up being a starter. But for right now, it is, I mean, along with Jane Smith, you go with your known commodities, and nobody is going to question Larry Johnson Sr. on what it is that he wants to do. I think that it is, frankly, up to him and only him. I don't think anybody in the Ohio State building wants to really go, hey, Larry, what are you doing with the offensive line? Including Ryan Day. They're just going to make it go. You saw what Cade McDonald and Caden Curry meant. Goodness me, they're going to get after it. Linebackers, Riley Pettijohn and Peyton Pierce feel like the guys. We'll see what TJ Alford can offer here. I'm not that concerned about it. However, Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese were cheat codes. That's going to be a large bar to clear. Cornerback, Jermaine Matthews. Where did I get Jermaine Matthews Jr. and Devin Sanchez are your starters. Those are probably, that's your best spot, I think, on this defense. And as far as returning talent that are veterans, I think both of those guys are pretty good, and they're pretty stout at outside corner, especially when it comes to wrapping up and tackling. Then at nickel, Earl Little. I think that's going to be a lot of fun, guys. I really do. Dude transferring to Florida State. When Ohio State's had a nickel that I really like watching play, their defense is one I like watching. Now, Caleb Downs kind of broke that because he was your de facto nickel, but he could play everywhere. Now they're going to go back to what I think is more of a traditional 5 defensive back scheme as opposed to 4 in a rover. But that's fun. Terry Moore and Jalen McClain, 2 of the better safeties, I think, in all of the Big Ten. Terry McClain transferring in from Duke, but when he was healthy, he was a monster. 71 tackles, 4 interceptions to help carry that Duke defense. And you know how Duke has really come up in a great way. McClain was overshadowed because Downs is so good, but you're going to hear a lot of people talking about Jalen McClain. Just remember that I told you about him first. That is the Ohio State 2 deep as I see it. Let me know in your comments below what you think.